Well, the White Sox handed out their biggest contract ever, a 5-year, $75 million deal to Andrew Benintendi.
Wow.
Interesting way to spend your highest contract ever, I
It's
think.
still amazing to me. I mean, even the Tigers they've been giving out $75 million deals for decades now. So,
Yeah,
but
they've handed out big ass deals. So
did you ever dream your wildest dreams, your biggest contract ever would be going to one Andrew Benintendi of all people?
no, I dreamed it would go to maybe Aaron Judge. I
I
don't
think I
know.
remember you dreaming about that on
I
this
sure
show, in
did.
fact.
I sometimes have been seen saying Aaron Judge and right in my sleep, but it didn't
Mm.
happen. Yeah, I mean, here's the way I look at it. Uh, he's he's a solid, like, well-rounded player. He kind of he can get you stats in all the categories. He's a plus outfielder, but he only works if there's a 180-degree turnaround from the way everyone else performed on the White Sox last year. And that's the only way the signing really works for the Sox is
Mm.
he fits in great if Tim Anderson, Lewis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yasmani Grandal all stay on the field and all get the numbers they're supposed to get. Yohan Mikata almost left him out. If that doesn't happen, then I mean he'll help keep the errors down in the outfield, but it's just going to be a nice addition that isn't able to fit in well because he's not going to add any lost power from those other guys I just mentioned. And that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for perhaps they bring in a true power hitter to sort of get that fun little rivalry going and make sure everyone's like, hey, boom, boom, boom. It's contagious, right? And that's not what they did. Again, fine signing, but
Solid. Solid
solid.
signing. It's
Yeah,
kind of
but
strange that it's your biggest signing ever, certainly biggest signing of this offseason. But I think I see your point. I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. The confounding thing to me though is I thought you were going to be getting a right fielder of sorts or something. You got a left fielder where you had to place your star Eloy Jimenez, stash him away over in left field so he doesn't hurt himself. But this now puts him into a DH and potentially a right field role, which is shocking to many people. We've heard your manager, Pedro Grifol, speak of Eloy playing in right field. Eloy says, I think he said he doesn't even want a DH. He wants to be the right fielder, which seems I guess I can understand why you wouldn't want to be a full-time DH, but a guy that you had to hide in left field, exposing him in right field seems like you're compounding the problem somehow. So I'm just confounded. I'm confounded by the well, essentially the roster construction. How how do you think they're going to be using Eloy? That's complicated by Yasmani Grandal, which is your catcher, but he's going to have to play a significant time at DH too to keep him healthy. How do you think they balance that? How does that work?
well, I am as when those words came out of Pedro Grifal's mouth. If I had been driving a car, I probably would have driven off the road.
I think your sentiment is
Um,
is shared by many out there.
when you take an individual to your everything you said, you articulated was perfect, and then he didn't even play his native position well. You want to stick him in right field
Yeah,
where he's never played. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's had a handful of games there in the minors or some shit, but it's not a regular position for him.
no.
It just screams injury again,
Well, and
and it also
beyond that,
screams it also screams porous outfield
yeah,
if you hit the ball to the right side, which is going
that
to be a lot more balls going to right with the shift not happening now.
that's where I was going with this. Where correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always been under the assumption that right field is a more difficult position to play than left field even. just because you have to make the long throws to third base every so often. It's just, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how your right field plays compared to left field in general, but just the general consensus is right field is more difficult. So you're putting your worst outfielder and injury prone outfielder into a more precarious position, in a more critical position. And I think it seems like you're getting worse, and you're creating a more dangerous situation for your star player.
Yeah, and then you're in this like platoon situation again, right? Everyone, like Oscar Colas has been invited to camp. Everyone's thinking he is going to be on the roster and playing right field. Then you also got Gavin Sheets hanging out still, who is probably, well, right now we do. I mean, unless some sort of trade happens, but obviously, oddly enough, he's probably a better right fielder option than Eloy, and that's not saying much. So it's again it's a bit of a confusing off season overall. I mean, not to steer the conversation elsewhere, but you kind of have a hole at second base too, which oddly enough means if there's a hole at second, there'll be more balls in right field. But thank you.
Why don't we just put Eloy at second? I mean, we've said all along anybody can play second base, so who cares?
Yeah, I see him just turning an ankle on the double play, like the first time he attempts
first day. Yes, for sure.
Anyone can play second.
Do you trade Eloy? Is it are they trying to build up his value somehow? Like, he can play right field and hope he doesn't get hurt for the first 2 months and then trade him at some point. Is that what they're doing? That's the only thing I could think of. Like this.
I don't know, but the roster construction right now is very reminiscent of last offseason.
Well, and you had to dump your best hitter, Jose Abreu, to kind of clear things up. And now I feel like you're right back to square one, and minus Abreu in favor of Andrew Benintendi. So
yeah, when they signed Benintendi, I thought they were going to ask him to move to right.
That's what I think a lot of people thought, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
So I got nothing. I really don't. I'm as confused as you.
We're just podcasters. We don't have to have the answers. So.
I'm also I'm terrified because I was thinking of Eloy, DHing like 99% of the time and staying on the field all year, staying in the lineup all year. Because
that's clearly the safest way to do it.
He may not want to DH, but he adjusted to it fine. I mean, I think we talked about it I know I did talk about it on here at the end of the season. I mean, his full season projections are like 41 home runs on the pace he was, hitting. So
you never have trouble with the projections for Eloy. It's just having him on the field.
It's keeping him on the field. So he just needs to stay in the lineup. Maybe on the field's the wrong word. He just needs to stay in the lineup.
Yeah.
Only on the field for hitting. So I don't know. Maybe he can be like a relief pitcher or something.
Well, you brought up second base too. Where was it? Romy Gonzalez?
Romy Gonzalez and
Garcia
and Lennon Sosa. Well, I'm also I think you saw my post. You said surely there's an Adam out there somewhere, but everyone starting speculating. We were trading back for Madrigal or Nicky Lopez, and I'm like, well, first of all,
Nicky Lopez
is just Luray Garcia. We don't need another fucking one of those.
We don't need to rebuild the Kansas City Royals on the south side of Chicago.
That's the other thing. That's not what we need. I mean, unless you want to go get Salvador Perez, I'm okay with that. But
I've heard
that's a different story. That's a different story, though.
Yes,
but
that would solve a lot of issues. Actually,
that sure would.
I'm not sure the Royals would be amicable.
I don't think so, but I'm ready. I'll take it. Come on over.
All right, here we go. Eloy for Salvador Perez. Oh,
it's
you heard it here first, folks. I mean, I don't know if I don't see why the Royals would be interested in that. I'm not sure you guys would be necessarily, but
I think they would be interested in Perez for Grandel straight up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Eloy for Perez. I don't know. Perez is older.
he is older.
He's gonna start. He's gonna be the same Eloy issue. He's gonna be injured too. So
Yeah. You do need a backup catcher, though.
Yeah.
I just solved problems right there. So
there you go. There you go. So thanks for solving the problems.
Here for it.
Smitty GM. Yeah. So I don't
Nick
know.
Madrigal. I mean, that I find that hilarious. I think the Cubs would jump at that because we seem to be all right in
you're
up the
fine.
middle at least, and Madrigal hasn't done a whole lot. And maybe going back to the south side, he'll feel better and not get hurt so much. But
He would be. I said like Madrigal. I would entertain way more than Nicky Lopez because at least he has upside.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But Lopez has no upside. He's just another like you said. There's no need to rebuild the Royals, and there's no reason to bring in. We don't need two Lurie Garcias on the team.
All right, I got another trade proposal for you.
All right, go ahead, fire.
Nick Madrigal for Eloy Jimenez. Solving problems all over the place here.
I'll go a hard pass on that one.
We need a DH. Well, hey, I've got solutions here. You're just being too negative. I mean,
I know.
You're whining about your problems. I've got solutions. I mean, come on.
You're being such a whiny little schoolboy, and I'm trying to help you, and you're just dismissing me.
Yep. That's the history of this podcast, but.
Word Hole Media.